Hello my fellow no-nonsense forex traders. Today I'm going to show you how to backtest an indicator. VP did show this in one of his videos and it was great. However, there's a few things that the more beginner person might struggle with in the beginning or have questions about. I know I did. So I want to make this video to clear those things up. So first of all, we're here at a chart, the Euro US dollar, like VP usually likes to have open. You got your candlesticks here. You have the ATR, this white line here, and then an indicator we're testing, the rubber tape in this case. This is one of those zero line crosses where if it crosses down below, then you go short. If it crosses above, you go long. And the dashed line is the zero, so that's the line that we're looking at. I didn't find this myself. This was on the community spreadsheet. I'll give a link to that in the description of this video. It's a pretty awesome spreadsheet that someone started, and it's got a lot of indicators in there that people have tested already, and the results and some notes and stuff. So definitely check that out. It is really, really cool, really handy, really nice that people are doing that. So check it out. Another thing to note is I'm using MetaTrader 5. Okay, I don't have MetaTrader 4 at the moment, although I might later because it seems like a lot of indicators are only for MetaTrader 4. Not available for 5 yet at this time. And then another thing to note is that I am using a program called Glassbrick. It is a free program. I don't know who developed it, but it is in now Microsoft's hands, and they have proceeded to make it available only to Windows 10 users. So if you're using Windows 8 or 7 or heaven forbid Vista or XP, you cannot get it from Microsoft. However, there are some places that host older versions, I should say reputable places that host older versions which work on everything from XP to Windows 10. And that is what I did. I went to one of those reputable sources and downloaded version 2.1 because I'm running Windows 7 at the moment. I will also link that in the description below. The final pre-note I have is that when I'm doing this, you're going to notice I go between this regular cursor and a crosshair. Okay. There's a couple ways to do this in MetaTrader 5. Up at the top here, let me circle it for you. You'll see a couple of buttons here that represent the mouse cursor, or the regular cursor I should say, this one, and then the crosshairs. So you can just click up here and get the crosshair. The funny thing about this program is that though, as soon as you click somewhere, it disappears. It goes back to the regular cursor. I couldn't find a setting to make it persistent, but maybe I'm just not seeing it. Just keep that in mind. The quickest way to get to the crosshair is to use Control F on your keyboard. In fact, if you move your mouse over or cursor over this crosshair, you'll see that it says Control F. So look at that if you forget what the keyboard combination is. Again, Control F will get you there. Okay? So the Glassbrick program is a program that zooms in for you. So for instance, looking at this ATR over here is really small, right? It's kind of hard to read. I mean, I can read it on my screen, but it may not be as easy on other screens. So I'm going to use Glassbrick to zoom in on that area. So see, now you can see it says ATR 14.00590. Okay. So that is the current ATR. And back to Glassbrick, the way you do that is the way you zoom in is you hold down Control and you scroll your mouse wheel up, and that will zoom in, and you scroll it back down to zoom back out. Okay? Okay. Now, back to ATR. Again, this value here is the current value. When you're backtesting, you don't care about the current value, right? You want to know what the value of ATR is for that day that you're testing. So that's the next thing we'll do here is we'll just take a look at how you do that. So what I do is I get my crosshairs, and then you can see what exactly candlestick you're looking at, right? So say you want to look at this big green solid candlestick here. You want to look at that day. So you move your cursor down to over the white line of the ATR, and then there you go. It says value. That third line there, in that little pop-up window or box, says value 0.00912. And remember, pips for most currency pairs are the 4th decimal place, right? Let's get that back. So in this case, the value of the pips, or the ATR value, is 91 pips, okay? Because it's the 4th, it starts from the 4th decimal place. So let's look at this candlestick here. So it's 0.00784. So it's 78 pips, right? Okay, let's go look at this big red candlestick here. So 0.0079, so 79 pips. All right. Okay, now that we have all that, now we can go ahead and we'll test a couple of we'll test the rubber tape indicator on a couple days here, okay? So let's take this day here. Let's see here. Now I zoom in. I like to zoom in for myself just to see where exactly it's crossing, right? Because it's kind of hard to tell sometimes. So it looks like it's crossing right here. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out, and that candlestick is right. So it's right here. This candlestick right here. Okay. That's when it actually crosses over. So see, this pink line is crossing down below this 0 mark, this 0 dash line here. So because it's crossing below, that means, remember, go short, okay? Here it's crossing above, so we're going to go long. Here it's crossing below, so we're going to go short. When it crosses below, you go short. When it crosses above, you go long, okay? So this case, this day that we're looking at right here, it's crossing below, so we're going to go short. Okay, so we want to find out what the ATR is for this day. That's our first objective. Remember, ATR is the important one here, the most important indicator. So we're going to zoom in, and ATR for this day is 0.00598. So that's 59 pips. So we want this currency pair to go down 59 pips before it goes up whatever 59 pips times 1.5 is, right? So let's calculate that first. So 59 times 1.5 is 88.5 pips. So we want this currency pair to go down. Again, the value of ATR at this day and time is 59 pips. So we want it to go down 59 pips before it goes up 88.5 pips. All right, so let's see if that happens. Now, one last thing to mention is that when you're measuring the distance between 2 points, you know, your daily candlestick that you're starting from, and then wherever your next one is, you have to start off at a certain point on that first daily candlestick. So for instance, when it's a red one, you need to start at the bottom of the candlestick, because remember, a daily candlestick for any time frame candlesticks, actually, when it's a red candle, that means it closed lower than it opened. So the close would be down here at the bottom of this candlestick, not at the top of this candlestick. Okay, so let's take this green candlestick here. This is a green one, right? So it went higher, so it closed higher. So we're not going to measure from the bottom on this one. We're going to measure from the top of this one. because that's where it closed. That's what we're interested in, when it closes. Remember how VP mentions that you want to be as close to the end of that candlestick, to the close of that candlestick as possible. So for him, he does this around 1:40 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because that's when, because 2 o'clock his time is when these things close. So you ignore the shadows, the upper line, that lower line. You ignore that. Those are the low of the day at some point and the high of the day. So we don't care about that. We want to know the close. So for this candlestick here, this red one, we don't care about this point here. We don't care about this point here. We don't care about this point here. We care about this right here, the bottom of the body of the candlestick. Okay? So for this one, we will care about right here, the top of the body of the candlestick, because it's green. It went up. It closed up. Okay, so let's go back to our, now that I forgot where we were, let's go back to our candlestick that we're actually going to look at here, that we're going to measure. So one more time, we're going to look at the ATR. So 59 pips, because it says 0.0059. That is 59 pips. And that is how it works for most currency pairs. The Japanese yen is different. We'll get to that later. So we're looking at, we want this currency pair to go down because we're going short. Remember, the pink line goes down below this line. We want it to go down 59 pips before it goes up 88.5 pips. Because that would be our stop loss. That's our stop loss. If it hits that point before it goes down 59 pips, we're out of the trade. Okay? And that would mean that this was a losing trade. All right. Here we go. So again, this is a red candlestick, so we're going to measure from the bottom of the body. So with your crosshair, you have to have the crosshair for this now. You click your mouse, your left mouse button, and you hold it and you drag, and you're going to see this line that extends. It starts from that point that we started from, and now it's following us around to the crosshair. Okay, and the number that we care about is the last number, the one that says points. So right now it says 795 points or 528 points. It doesn't matter where you do it, because we're caring about the points. That's the up and down, right? Up and down, that's the price, or the price, the pips, whatever you want to call it. So right now it says 602 points, so that's 60 pips. Okay. I don't know why this is. MetaTrader 5 does this. This could be a simple common thing that I don't know about. I'm pretty new to forex, so this could be a totally dumb thing that I don't know. But it's multiplying pips times 10, and that's what points are. So right now, this 654 points, that means 65 pips, right? So 416 points means 41 pips. So 1,427 points means 142 pips. 877 points means 87 pips. Okay, so we got to keep that in mind. So a little weird. It took me a little bit to figure that out, but that's just the way it is. Again, I don't know why, but it could be just something. It could be common. I don't know. Okay, so now that I forgot what the pips was, so 59 pips is what we're looking for. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna do this again. So I'll measure this. So we want to see 590 points, right? 59 pips times 10 is 590, and that's the points that we're looking for. Okay, so it got there. See, it went down. It went more than 590 points. It went down all the way to 1,271 points. So it went 127 pips in our direction before it started going the other way. So this trade, because it hit 59, it went over 59 pips, was a winner. So you mark this as a winner. So you mark that in your spreadsheet, or write it down, whatever. Chalk it up to a winner. So that's good. Cool. By the way, this rubber tape indicator is pretty cool. It's I've only tested it on 5 currency pairs, but it's averaging over 60%, and I think that's pretty decent. I think that's good. Anything below 60, I think, is not really worth looking at or keeping or whatever. 50% or lower is just garbage. So let's test another one. How about we test? How about we test this one over here? Okay, this red candlestick right here, because it's crossing above the line. So we're going to go long on this one. So let's look at the ATR. ATR is let me zoom in here for you. 0.0087, so 87 pips. So if we're going to measure the stop loss, or if we want to know the stop loss, we go 87 times 1.5. Remember, the stop loss is 1.5 times the ATR. So 130 pips. If it goes down 130 pips before it goes up 87 pips, then it's a loser. We'll get stopped out. And we're going long this time because remember, this pink line is going above this dashed line. Okay, so let's look at this ATR again. 87 pips. All right. So this is a red candlestick, right? So we gotta measure from the bottom of the body. Okay, so we want this to go 87 pips up, or 870 points. Okay, it didn't get there. All right. So now we're gonna have to check down this way to see if we get stopped out. Remember 130 pips, so we're gonna see. Hopefully this does not hit 1,300 points. At the very bottom of the screen, this candlestick right here, it does not. It doesn't even get 1,100. Okay, so that's good. Now look, we're gonna go back up because that's the lowest point it was for a while. So we're gonna go back up and measure upwards here. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. This is we're looking for 87 pips on the way up. So see, we hit it. We hit it on this green candlestick right here. See, we hit it right around here. So it went up past that. So that's awesome. So it got to 87 pips before it went down 130 pips. So this was another winner. Let's test one more. So I'm going to zoom in here. So this line, this pink line went up above the dash, the 0 line here. So it seems like it didn't actually cross until this green candlestick right here. It's kind of hard to say. That's a tough one. That's when things get tricky, because it looks like it's like it's between these two candlesticks. Basically, it's touching the line right between the two. So I'm gonna say let's go with this green candlestick, because that's when it actually went above that 0 point. So we're gonna look at the ATR. 58 pips, because it says 0.0058, so that's 58 pips. Okay, so I guess we should get our calculator out. So 58 times 1.5 is 87. So we want this thing to go up 58 pips before it goes down 87, because the pink line is crossing above this 0 level, right? So we're going to go long. Okay, so 58 and 87. We want it to go up 58. So this candlestick is kind of interesting because it's really there's no body there. It's just a single line, right? So that one's pretty easy. You just put your crosshair right on that line, as close as you can. Okay, so again, let's see if it goes 58 pips. Uh-oh, it did not. That line stops at about 40 or 393, right? So let's see if we hit 87. Yep, we hit 87 here. So this was a loser, because it went down 87 before it can go. It never, still, it might in the future, but it doesn't matter anymore because it already hit 87. So we're out of this trade. We hit our stop loss. So we're done with that one. So that was a loser. So that is how you do it. So let me just show you real quick on the Japanese yen pair, because that one's a little bit different as far as the way the pips go. So on the Japanese yen, if you notice here, see how it says the ATR 0.556? So a single pip is at the second decimal place, so a 5 here. So because it's 0.55, it's 55 pips. Okay, so let's say we're looking at let's look at the ATR at this point right here. So it's saying 1.581, so that's 158 pips. Okay, let's look at it down over here. So 0.91 means 91 pips. All right, and so when you're measuring your distance from candlesticks to others to see if you have a winner or a loser, it's the same thing. So 1295 is 129 pips. So 1295 points is 129 pips. I just ignore that last digit. I don't really care about half pips or whatever, so I just ignore it. So say I'm trying to measure from here, from here to up here. So 98 pips, because it says 986 points. Or say I wanted to go all the way to the top of this shadow here. 1,726 points, so that's 172 pips. Okay, so just keep that in mind. The Japanese yen is a little bit different. So hopefully this all makes sense and helps, because I was a little confused at the beginning when I first started doing this as far as the pips and the points and all that. So hopefully that helps somebody out there. Let me know if you have any questions. Just leave a comment and I'll try to get back to you.